Welcome back to Just You and Me. I'm Donna.
And I am Adam. How's it going?
I'm glad that we are able to do this today, Adam. It's been a really, really tough week for you. I am sure that you want to share with our audience what has been going on with you.
Yeah. So my father, who has been a guest on this podcast once before, he passed away suddenly on Tuesday. We are recording this now on Friday. So it's been a few days. Um, it was actually coincidentally the morning of October 7th, which is even crazier because now the date is going to kind of be stuck in my head even longer, and for more terrible reasons. Anyway, it was very sudden. It was my he lives with my mom. They live in a big house in the San Fernando Valley, which we live in the San Fernando Valley too, so I'm not too far away. And he was, I guess, Monday evening, late into the evening, early into the morning, was watching TV by himself on the couch, and my mom went to go check on him. Must have been around, I don't know, 3:30, almost 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was motionless and
Oh, I,
nothing.
I didn't know this. I have
Yeah,
not known the details. Okay, so he didn't come to bed.
no, no, he didn't. He was sitting there. The dog was with him, and he just passed away.
Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah, and my mom called. My mom knew, but my mom called 911 to see what was going on. So then eventually she called me. And weirdly enough, I happened to be up anyway. Like, I just woke up at, like, I don't know, maybe around 3:45. I just happened to be up. And she called me. And obviously, when your parent, especially at that age, calls you at middle of the night, you know something's wrong.
100%.
Um, and I didn't know. I mean, I, it didn't go. My brain didn't go initially to that to begin with. It was more of maybe someone robbed the house. Maybe even one of my parents were going to the emergency room because, to be honest, my dad has had some heart issues, and my mom is not in the greatest of health. So I answered the phone, and my mom told me she was crying.
And was she crying? How was
Yeah,
she?
yeah, she was not doing well. She was crying, and I guess I don't remember when she called me if there were already people there, but um, I believe so. Basically, what happened is she told me, and I went into shock. I told my wife Lauren. The kids woke up because they heard us, walking around. So I grabbed a bag and a bunch of things and just jumped in the car, drove to my mom's house, which is about 15, 20 minutes away, especially at that time. And there were two police officers there already. Because I guess if you have a body that is pronounced dead, they still have to, have cops there and make sure that, there was no foul play or anything.
Of course.
So yeah, so I was there. And then eventually, my parents, they already had where they want to be buried, the cemetery, they already have their plot picked out. Everything was already taken care of. So we called the mortuary, and they came and picked up the body and then left. So,
So when you got there,
mhm.
had the ambulance already come and like put the body
No,
in?
I got there and I saw his body sitting in the spot where it's in a spot that was extremely familiar to me because it
No,
was
he was
where he
still
sat.
sitting in the
Yeah,
chair or the body
yeah,
on the couch.
yes, and it was like he was taking a nap, like he always did in that spot.
Wait, but I thought
Um,
your mom had called 911 already. They didn't
they
take the
did,
body.
but no, because the mortuary has to do it. So they have to call, like the cops come to make sure everything is fine in terms of like, foul play or anything. And then once they determine it's fine, then they call the mortuary to come pick up the body. Because if the body is, especially in Jewish tradition, um, they want to get everything done as quickly as possible. The only thing that would hold it up is if there was had to be an autopsy for whatever reason.
Yeah, if they were
Um,
young or like something
right. Or
happened.
if there was foul play, if we assume like, any of that kind of stuff.
Wait,
Um,
oh my God, so your mom had to sit in the same room as your dad's body for hours, like
I
basically.
don't know, it wasn't hours, but
It
it
was like an
was, yeah, it was something like that. And my brother came over too. My brother also lives in San Fernando Valley and even closer to where I live to my parents. And he got over there first. And then I got over
I
there,
don't
and
think I would wake up. Like I definitely put my phone on silent.
I did, but that's what I'm saying. I put it on silent, but I put it on do not disturb, but I happen to be up. I just happen to
and
be
how did
up.
your brother hear it?
I don't know what his phone situation is, to be honest with you, but we both ended up there, and then um, I had to make two phone calls, which was one to my aunt, who's my mom's sister, who's kind of been like it's my mom's best friend, and she's been kind of the bedrock of everything. And then the other person I called was my dad's first cousin, Eddie, who's pretty much his best friend. And just to let them know. So they both came over as well. At that
Early
point,
still?
what was that?
Was it like really early still?
It was getting into like more like 7, 8 a.m., like around there. I think my aunt Arlene came over a little bit earlier than that, but pretty much
And
the
when you called them, were they just like shocked? I mean, how was
yeah,
that?
yeah. I think everyone was completely in shock. No idea. Like it was very much all of a sudden. So anyway, they came over, and then we started going through the process of making arrangements and trying to figure out, who to call, what to do. There were a lot of different random things that you kind of just don't think about when something like that happens so suddenly. And
This is the yeah, it's such an interesting. Well, keep going. I have so many questions, but yeah.
yeah, no. So I mean, that's basically it. So then, I handled most of at least kicking off the conversation with the mortuary and getting all of that stuff starting to be planned. Like I said, it was already they already had a spot. They already paid for everything, so it wasn't like we had to go in and find where he wanted to be buried, where he wants to be, or figure out a place to get him buried, or pay additional funds. I mean, there's always additional funds. They charge you for everything because it's a business. But we were able to go through it without kind of limited of like amount of questions being asked of like, do you prefer this over this over this and all that stuff. So um, I handled that. I called a couple more people, and we were just calling people and letting people know, um,
And you
and
posted publicly on Facebook so that you didn't have to like let too many like if people wanted to show up to the service, they could.
yeah, it's one of those things. Again, and I mentioned this earlier, is that we try to get it done in Jewish tradition. You try to get it done as soon as possible, and
So
there's an
what's the reason behind that? And a lot of people have those questions. Like when I was talking to Aaron yesterday, because one of our good friends, his wife is not Jewish, and she's like, it's amazing how fast it gets done in the
right.
Jewish tradition. It's like I didn't really know any other way, but I guess she's Catholic. She's like it feels like a totally different thing. You have to get all these people's approval and this and this and that.
Because
It's
I,
so
I
nice
think
that
in,
it's fast.
I think in general, the Jewish, Judaism, they don't dwell on the dead, right? They don't dwell on death. That's why there's really no too much mention about heaven or hell or any of that type of thing in our religion, right? It's more of just like, let's celebrate life and let's make the world a better place while we're here. So I think
Interesting.
it goes into that. What's interesting though, so quick little story as well, um, was the rabbi. So what I realized, and I don't remember, maybe you were the one who told me or somebody, but it happened to be a Jewish holiday on Tuesday. It was Sukkot, and Sukkot
Yeah.
actually lasts until I believe Wednesday of
It's a week.
next week, right?
Yeah.
So my father belonged to a conservative synagogue, and the rabbi there, he had some kind of relationship with my dad. They didn't know each other that well. I think he was a newish rabbi, but they knew each other. And when I called the synagogue, they were closed. There was just a message machine. So I left a message because they're closed for Sukkot. They're not answering. So I left a message and I said, I'm desperately trying to get a hold of my dad's rabbi. Anything you can do would be great. So then what I ended up doing was I follow one of the rabbis at my synagogue, this woman, Rabbi Kira Stein. We have two rabbis. We have Rabbi Kira and Rabbi Sarah. So I messaged Rabbi Kira right after I leave a message on his synagogue's voicemail. And I say, Rabbi Kira, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get a hold of my dad's rabbi. I can't because it's Sukkot. Is there any, I don't know if you'd be willing to do, the service, how we can get this done. So I don't hear back for a little bit. And all of a sudden I get, maybe a couple hours later, I get a call from my dad's rabbi. And I'm like, oh, he tracked us down and all of that stuff. So I assume maybe someone heard the voicemail or whatnot. But what I had found out was rabbis, I guess, tend to know each other and be close. So Rabbi Kira told the other rabbi at our temple, Rabbi Sarah. And Rabbi Sarah knows my dad's rabbi. So she called my dad's rabbi. And what he was telling me was that he usually doesn't answer phones on Jewish holidays unless it's an emergency. I don't think he just wants to rest and not have to deal with work stuff. But Rabbi Sarah called him over and over and over and over. So he was he picked up the phone and he immediately thought maybe some kind of anti-Semitic thing happened at the synagogue. But Rabbi Sarah told him, yeah, your congregant, Thomas Newman, passed away. Can you please call his son? And then that's how I got a hold of him.
So the man that did the service was your dad's
yes,
rabbi.
yes,
Nice
and
guy.
he was nice, and I'm trying to remember his name. It's one of these things that's just blanking in my head right now. But
Yeah.
the other thing he told us, which was it's frustrating because, but it's just kind of the way Judaism is that technically, so we have this. When you're Jewish, the idea after death, you do something called sitting shiva, where you sit kind of at a home for, I believe it's 7 or 8 days. You're supposed to do prayers every single day. You have a minion of 10 people who go there, say prayers, and you support the family. Now, because it's Sukkot, you're not allowed to do that. What he was telling us was that I guess the Talmud had this question, was basically, if there's a time of mourning and a time of celebration like Sukkot, what takes precedent? What is number one? And I guess the rabbis agreed that it's the holiday that's the most important in that. And then after, you can mourn. So the whole idea was once Sukkot's over, then we can start sitting Shiva,
Oh
which
my
would be
God.
Wednesday of next week. So we thought about it. We're we can't do this. And the rabbi understood. He's no one wants to sit there and have family around and then have to mourn again for 7 more days once the holiday's
No.
over, because you want to kind of get it done and then move on with your
And
life.
you also want to start to heal.
Right. So the only thing is we can't do the normal prayers. The rabbi couldn't come over after and say prayers and do that stuff. It just wasn't allowed. So we did a little bit untraditionally, and
Is that because it's a conservative rabbi? Because a reform rabbi wouldn't take it that seriously, or all rabbis would do it
I
this
don't
way?
know. I mean, my assumption is it's because it's a conservative. I mean, I feel
Your
um,
dad was a conservative Jew.
yeah. I mean, we talked about this when he was on. He grew up
Yeah.
more in an Orthodox house, or at least he was sent to more Orthodox schools
Yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, I grew up going to this conservative synagogue. It's the same synagogue I went to growing up. It's where I had my bar mitzvah. Um, and it was kind of just what I was used to. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit more kind of by the book of, being like being by the book and trying to do this. So anyway, we yesterday, so he died on Tuesday, and then on Thursday we buried him. So we had a service, um, and then we had a service in a chapel at the mortuary, and then we buried him in the spot that he had picked out a while ago.
So of course, I mean, we can talk more about yesterday and everything, but I will say a few things. Number one, you sent a text to our group text on Tuesday morning, and I was so surprised, obviously shocked, just because he felt so alive, because we had just sat down with him just a few months ago. Obviously he had some, like, health issues. I remember you, like, were going to the hospital with him a little bit here and there. You were going to doctor's appointments. But
Mm-hmm.
like, what, 70, late 70s, 80s, he was 78 when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
Most have somewhat health issues. I didn't think anything was like that tragic, but you know, everyone's body just decides to go when it does. What happened to him felt so sudden. It was so, like, it was so sad. It was so sad. And when I told Lance that morning, we both just like shed a tear, because it felt so, like, fast. You start to kind of think about the best way to go. As a person, everyone always says, like, I want to go in my sleep, right? Where, so
Right.
technically he went in his sleep,
Yeah.
right? Um, and there's a beauty to going in your sleep, because then you don't have to, like, go through the illness and the
Yes.
long years of, like, cancer, struggle and losing weight and hair and whatever. But also, you don't get to say goodbye. And, like, that is horrible. That idea. No one gets to say goodbye to you, and you also don't get to wrap anything up. Like, like, I was thinking, I was like, what if he didn't, like, send a text that he wanted to send, or, like,
Right.
like, or, like, eat the favorite food that he wanted to, or the restaurant he wanted to go to, or see that thing at sports game that, like you talked about in your speech yesterday, about, how he was such a fan of this and that. And, like, not to say that, listen, death always is unexpected for the most part. Most people don't plan on their death, but it's just so fast to go this way. You don't
Yeah.
literally have any clue it's happening. It could happen in a car accident for the same reason. So fast, no plan. It just made me so sad that, he just was like, I guess your mom was probably like, I'm going to bed. And he was like, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
watch TV.
That's what
Is that
happened
how it
most.
went?
Yeah. I mean, it was Monday night, so he DVR'd everything, including sports. So he was probably sitting there watching, finishing up Monday Night Football.
And your
Uh,
mom goes to bed early.
yeah, she'll go to bed earlier, or they'll watch different things. Like she'll go upstairs and watch something, or read a book,
It
or do
happens
something.
all the time in my house.
Right. So he was either watching one of his shows, or maybe, like I said, he could have been just watching Monday Night Football, and then
And your mom probably fell asleep,
yeah, yeah,
woke up and was like, where is he?
yeah.
And your
Um,
dog never came upstairs.
no, the dog stayed down there. The dog usually I guess what happens is, my mom goes to bed, and then when my dad goes up, the dog comes with, and then
Yeah.
the dog sleeps in the bed. So, and it's the dog thing is interesting, because it was one of those things where, um, my dad had wanted a dog throughout our entire childhood, but my mom never wanted it, and he was able to finally convince her, especially when they got older and they were, you know, um, COVID happened, so they were at home a little bit more, and we the kids are in and out. Kids being us, so they didn't have kids in the house. Obviously, they had kids out in the house for a while, so they were able to get a dog. They named their dog Brooklyn, and at the very beginning, my mom did not like the whole situation, did not like Brooklyn, did not like the whole thing, and then this is what dogs do. They become attached to you, and you become attached to them, and she fell in love with the dog, which I'm so glad that she has this
What kind of
dog.
dog?
It is a Labradoodle.
Oh, big or small?
Small, small. A very friendly dog. And it's nice that I feel good that my mom has that. Um, but I will say, you know, the one thing that I'm happy about in terms of timing with this whole situation was that, just last week or however long, I guess it was last week, um, we just had the Jewish holidays. You know, we had Rosh Hashanah, we had Yom Kippur, and I was able to spend time with my family, with my dad there, and it was very nice to have the whole family gathered, you know, for those holidays, as we do every year, those two especially, and it was just nice to have that time together before, and then it's what's weird about it now like I'm still in shock. I'm going through all those stages. I'll break out crying here and there, and then I'll do all these different things. Um, it's weird because you open up your phone and you're like, oh, there's the conversation you were texting with him, just yesterday or the day before. Like on Saturday, we had gone to Disneyland, and he came over while we were gone to check on our dog to make sure she was fine and took her out, did all that stuff. And the fact that it just like he was so dependable and so generous in that fashion where he would just do that just because we needed a favor. And I know that seems very minuscule in sorts,
No,
but the
it's
idea
not.
that
It's
the
not.
idea that he's able to do that, and you have that family there to do it. So it's it's crushing. Um, but we're doing our best right now to kind of pick up the pieces and move on and do what we need to do.
It's not minuscule. Your dad was a big part of your life. I was listening to you speak about him. You had such a beautiful speech about him. Um, you made me cry just now, just even saying that. When you were speaking about him, you had a beautiful like way of talking about him and you're like in a joking way, and you made jokes, but really the most important thing is that he was a good example to you as a father. He taught you how to be a good dad, but he taught you about how to be a good person. I was telling Lance last night in bed, sexy talk. We were talking about you and your dad. But
Now I got weird.
no, but like in bed, we were just catching up about our days, and I was just telling him, and I was like shedding tears talking about your uncle or your dad's cousins,
Yeah,
talking about how he was emotional, and I started to cry. I was just like, I'm so emotional about these things, like good family and good friends is so important, and to have a father that really loved you, um, and truly loved you. Like it wasn't just like a bullshit love. Like it
right.
sounds to me like your dad was really like truly a great person and father to you, and he really cared about you, and like the note that he wrote on your mirror
Yeah.
when you were growing up, like what a cool thing that you remembered that. What was the note?
So when we were growing up, and this is part of just being a good parent and being, I think, he had a lot of this um, pride in education and making sure that his children were educated, and we did what we needed to do to continue with our studies and be successful. So he had this saying that was, do the right thing, do your best, do it now. And what he did is he printed it out and put it on our mirror in our bathroom. And we had to say it every single morning.
And it was like probably so annoying as a kid. So
as a
cute.
kid, you're like, why the hell do I want to say this every morning? But I get it. I totally get it.
But then he
Um,
also took you to see like totally inappropriate RoboCop movies at 5 years old. Like it sounds to me like he was a perfect mix of fun and dad.
Yeah,
And he, you know, took you to sports games and took you to Disneyland. And he like, and I can say this honestly, quite honestly, with as a person didn't have a dad, a good
right.
dad at all. Like, you are so lucky to have that. Your kids are so lucky that they have that in you, and you have that as your example, because you will be that and more for your own kids. And you can only be that because you were taught that. As you know, I mean, I'm sure people with bad dads can also be great dads, but you you were given such a great example. The best thing that you can say is that your dad lived. He started from nothing, basically, with your parents coming from your grandparents being Holocaust survivors. They
Yeah,
started with nothing from the boat, but your dad built an amazing life for himself. And, you know, he became an incredible doctor. He found a beautiful, you know, marriage and two kids and lived the American dream. I mean, he had a nice home and career and friends and family and grandkids. And I mean, 78 years is too short, is the truth. It's too short in 2025, unfortunately, but it still is 78 years. I mean, that's the best thing that you can ask. It just sucks because you're left behind, like, and you don't have your dad now. Like, that's just so sad.
I know. And I it's weird because I am in a spot right now where, and this is what I'm going to talk to my therapist right after this.
Yeah.
Um,
This isn't your therapy.
well, this could be part of it. This is the start of it.
This is
Um,
pre-therapy.
I know it's true. It is. I'm in this weird place now because I'm like, I want to mourn, but I'm concerned about the people around me
Yeah,
first, mostly my mother.
of course. Well, you're the oldest brother. No, your dad brother's older
My
than you,
brother's older.
but
But
you are
I'm the responsible one. Let's be honest.
exactly. You are like the older
Yes.
in all respects, and you're a father. He's not. Like, you have that paternal instinct.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I thought about that too. Your mom is not in great health, and now she has this whole house.
Yeah.
Like, what is she gonna do?
We're gonna figure that out. I mean, it's right now it's just happened, so
It's
it's
so
very much
new.
like so new. So we have to figure out how it's gonna how we're gonna be able to support her, at least in the short run, and then we'll figure out long term. But it's that's the part. I can sit here and keep very busy with my kids, career, this show, all of this stuff. There's tons of stuff to do. But, when you're that age and you lose a partner, there's not as much. There's just not. And you're sitting there probably in your thoughts. And it's very scary to me. Um, so I get really, this is what I get really sad about and really concerned about.
You know, she does have. I'm imagining she probably has a circle of friends,
Hmm.
um, who have probably some of them have lost partners. I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Um, I know that actually. Hopefully, she can lean in on that. But yeah, I can understand why you would be worried. I would think the exact same for my mom and her husband. You know, my stepdad and her are both, he's a little over 80 and she's in her late 70s. Like, it's going to happen that one of them is going to go before the other, I'm sure. And I'm going to be just as worried for them. I mean, it's going to be very, very scary to think about what's going to happen with the remaining one. You know, when you're older and
Yeah.
alone after so many years, your parents were together 56 years.
Yeah. Just about. Yeah.
It,
Yeah. They were 56. Their wedding anniversary is June 1st. So yeah, they just passed 56.
yeah, I mean, one thing is, you know, your wife, Lauren, her father also passed, so she is understanding.
Hmm.
She knows the journey of losing a dad. Her mom is also has also gone through this, and hopefully she won't she'll be able to kind of walk you through the process a little bit too, you know. She that's going to be nice for you. I think that you'll have someone that's kind of like, because I was texting with her the day that it all
Mm.
happened, just to kind of like ask how you're doing, also from that angle, and she was like, kind of like, I know how he's feeling. Like, this is the process. Like, he's going to go through A, B, and C. Like, you're lucky that you have that too, that someone that has kind of gone through that and is going to be there for you. But you're right. Like, you'll never know what it's like to lose the love of your life. That's an unprecedented territory. We're supposed to lose our parents. That's like part of the game, right? Of life, to lose your parent.
Yep.
It's a horrible thing, but we know it's going to happen. We hope it happens this way and not the other way, right?
Yes, of course.
So, but to lose your partner, you don't think it's going to happen. But I will say one thing that you brought up, and I talked about. So yesterday, after we left the service, and then I guess Shiva at your mom and dad's house, we left. It was a wonderful spread, by the way. The best bagels, Hanks.
Of
Shout
course.
out. Really, honestly, wonderful spread. Um, 10 out of 10.
Oh,
10 out of
perfect.
10 Shiva spread.
Love it.
Um, and your kids came, Bellamy and Lincoln, so cute. And then, but we left there, and it's so weird because I had to be at my kid's school, which is in the area, and I had to be there at 3 p.m. And then our mutual friends also had to be at my kid's school because their kids were coming to that school to play in the sports game. It was the weirdest coincidence. So I was like, wait, what are the chances that we both have to stay in this area until 3 p.m.? So I was like, well, I brought my laptop. I'm just going to go to a Starbucks down the street. And they were like, well, we'll go too. So we ended up spending the entire day at Starbucks.
Mm.
And then, of course, between laptop stuff, we just chatted. And what we talked about was how important and how amazing of a gift it is for an aging parent to set your kids up so that they know they don't have to do anything when you die in terms
Yeah.
of your funeral. Like, my mom also has bought her own plot. She has already set it all up so that when she dies, I don't have to now grab money out of my own savings account and buy, because that is expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I don't know how many thousands, but I think at some of these Jewish cemeteries, it is up there.
And it's not even just that. It's the fact that not even just the money. It's the fact that you have to think about all of that stuff.
In
We
addition
don't
to
have to.
being in
Right.
addition to being in horrible sadness and like confusion and a daze, now can you imagine you're calling around trying to find a place for your dad to get buried?
Yeah. I know. And I think we are very lucky because I can't imagine that most of this country or people are doing that and have that sense to plan all of this stuff before.
I think it's a Jewish thing, I swear.
It very much, I'm sure there are other people that do it, but yes, I'm sure like we are planners. We know that kind of stuff. Like, Lauren and I already have that mapped out. Like we
You
have every,
you have a plot?
oh, well, we are not getting buried, but yes, we
You're
have
gonna
every,
get cremated?
yes, that's not
When did
very
you
Jewish of
decide
us.
that? No, I don't judge you, but I'm curious. When did you decide that?
Um, I think when Lauren's dad passed, he was cremated. He actually lives. He's like on the shelf, like right above us right now. His ashes.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got
really? It's
that.
in your
Yeah,
house.
yeah. Um, and I think I've always like I don't know. I never really understood the whole burial thing. To me, it's not that it's creepy, but it's just like I don't know, like going underground and being buried just seemed like kind of a I don't know, a waste of real estate, a waste of stuff on this earth, right? That you're putting together. And I'm not judging anybody who does it, but for me, I'm like, if I'm gonna have if I die, I'm like, I'd rather just take up as little amount of space as humanly possible and just get.
Interesting.
And I'm like, but I'm gonna force my kids to wear a vial of my ashes everywhere they go. No, I'm not gonna do that.
That's so
Yeah,
interesting. Um, does your mom have a plot next to your dad?
yeah,
Yeah, my mom has a plot. I'm imagining probably with my stepdad. I imagine they do together. I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, my mom, I remember, told me, because she travels a lot. She does these international trips. Like right now, she's in Israel, or she'll be in Israel in like 2 days. But I think she'll be there exactly. Well, we have to touch on what's going on in
I need
Israel.
to, I need to hear about it because I've been so much in
Totally
this. I
MIA.
need you to
Yeah,
fill me in on
I
what's
will.
going
I mean, as much as I know, but yeah,
on.
but she like sent me a text, or like an email a few months back, and she was like, "Okay, here is my info. Here's my
Yeah.
safe. Here is where like here's my login info. It's probably all wrong knowing my mom. It's probably totally wrong and misorganized, but like at least she's trying to like put all her login information and everything in one place. So when Lance's mom died, and like Lance's mom really had nothing to her name at all, but when she died, nothing was prepped, nothing was planned, nothing was organized, and he literally had to dig through everything to figure out anything, and everything was wrong, and it cost Lance and I thousands of dollars to
Yeah.
get her cremated, and like to get her after she died, like to figure out all her stuff. Like it was, so the worst thing you can do is, I think, like as an aging parent, is to leave that to your kids to deal with. Like that's just so hard for your kids to deal with.
Yeah, I think so. I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, my parents had me and my brother over to their house to literally talk about this
You
and
have
talk
to.
about what's going to happen if one or both passes, all of that stuff. The only thing I wish we did better is the one, like the password stuff, is that we were digging around for a couple of those things. Um,
Yeah, that's the thing, is passwords. Like you don't know how to log it. Does your mom even understand like any of the financial stuff?
Yeah, so the good news there is that my mom was, she had like multiple professions. One of it, first she was like a assistant teacher for a while, and then she also did a lot of, she worked for this podiatry society that obviously my dad was a part of, but she was kind of the secretary dealing with all the finances. So she was always doing a lot of our house finances as well and kind of understanding all of that. So when it came to now, it was pretty much my dad handled half of the stuff, my mom handled the other half. So it's not like my
Okay.
mom is running blind here, which is good. But there are things that need to be kind of figured out, obviously.
Yeah, it's a lot. It definitely makes you open up your eyes to like what would happen if someone just went. Like, how would life continue?
Yes, exactly.
It's a lot. Yeah. Um, well, I will say, uh, it was a really, really sad day. It was a sad morning, and you've handled it really well.
Thank you.
I feel for you. I know it's going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I'm really sad for you. I'm really sad for your family, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. And for everybody else, there have been a few people who do listen to the podcast who I guess have seen things on Instagram or wherever else who have reached out. And thank you all for.
My listeners have been so sweet. They've been so kind. Like, oh my God, no, we loved his episode.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being for being there. It's and even if I don't answer back or I've read every single thing that's come into a text or a DM or anything, and it's definitely appreciated.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't think anyone expects that you're like super on it right
Right,
now.
of course.
I think that, speaking of October 7th was such, I wonder if it almost like saved you from going down the hellhole that was October 7th on social media, because
It probably did because, like, honestly, I remember from Monday night, I was prepping my brain for it, right? It was
yeah.
one of those things I was like, here we go again. I had to deal with shit last year. So here we go again for this year. And obviously, I didn't get to, I mean, I was barely on social media. So I'm very curious to hear what your experience was.
Adam, it was, well, I woke up to that news, and I was in such a sad place because of the news. So in addition to that sadness, I'm so glad you weren't on social media. I think you would have fucking imploded. I was so disgusted with what I saw on October 7th. I have never, ever seen anything that horrendous as what I saw this year. Like, I don't know if it's my algorithm. I don't know what's going on. So basically, it was a mix of content that was reminding me of the terror of that day from people
Mhm.
that like are obviously Jewish and pro Israel, which is so devastating, right? So half of it is devastating because it reminds you of the day.
Yep.
And then the other half is devastating because it's literally showing pro Palestinian, pro Hamas, like let's do this again, marches through New York City.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't understand this universe that we're on. Like I don't like this timeline, get me off. I didn't understand how this was happening, and what was killing me was if any news organization like News Nation, which is a fairly I have become a News Nation
Yep.
fan because their reporters actually report fairly in my opinion, and they're not like super right wing or super left wing. I find
Yes.
them to be like somewhat central, so I like them. Like it's Chris Cuomo and Ashley Banfield and like I forget who else is on there that is good. But anyway, so like I follow them, and anytime they posted anything, it didn't even have to be pro Israel. It just wasn't pro Gaza.
Yep.
Every comment was like propaganda. $7,000 getting paid by night. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like I was losing my mind that day. I thought I was going to go crazy. I was like, I feel truly sick to my stomach over what I'm seeing. I couldn't handle it. It's just gotten to a fever pitch of anti Semitism out there that is so bad. Or I shouldn't even say anti Semitism, just anti Israel. Like
Right.
people just despise Israel so much. And it's coming from every end. I was so sick. But then luckily, October 8th, yesterday, 2 days ago, was, oh my God, oh my God, could not believe that we actually have a deal in place.
Mm-hmm.
I am literally like praising, like truly, honestly, thank Trump,
Mm-hmm.
thank God, thank everyone that was involved in this. But I don't know the details specifically, but all I know is that all of these leaders basically connected, got together. Trump was involved, Netanyahu, Hamas, Gaza, I don't know, 15 people, literally all these prime ministers, all these, even the Knesset,
Yep.
I mean, and that I'm confused on too, because I don't understand the parliament of Israel. Like, I don't understand the history of like the government of Israel. Do
Right.
you?
No, it's very convoluted, and I think as much as convoluted as our government is, I think theirs is even more
Like, I
convoluted.
didn't even know what I was like. What is the Knesset? I thought that was like a lake. Like, I was so confused.
Lake Knesset does sound pretty pleasant, by the way.
Is there not an area of Israel called the Knesset?
I don't know. You've been there more than I have. Is there
I
a Lake
swear
Knesset?
we went to the Knesset area. Like, I'm going to ask Siri. Hold on. What is the Knesset? The Knesset is the unicameral legislature of Israel. The Knesset passes all laws, elects the president and prime minister, approves the cabinet, and supervises the work of the government, among other things. So they had to do the final sign off of
it's
this peace plan
it
yesterday.
sounds like it's kind of like our Congress, right? I
Yeah.
mean, with obviously some caveats and differences, but yes, it's
Yeah. And I didn't even know that they existed. I was like,
no, I
I
knew
thought
they
it was just
existed.
Netanyahu.
No, no, it's not. That would be again. That would be very authoritative if it was just
Dictatorship.
them, right? So now because they have checks and balances with the Knesset as well.
Yeah, so they finally signed off on everything yesterday. And once they did is like now it's official. Like it took like all these different little like layers and whatever. And the fact that we are actually at a place where these 20 living hostages are going to be released on Sunday and the war is, as we know it, over
Right.
is, I mean, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, because you never know with
Yep.
Hamas. But by now it's October 10th. By now it's already nighttime of October 10th. It's already going to be Saturday morning tonight. And then by tomorrow night, by Saturday night, tomorrow, it's going to be Sunday.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know the process. I don't know how they're going to be returned. I don't know if it's going to be public, private. I have no idea. But I know that they're already setting up all the hospital beds the way they normally do. They're setting up all the crisis centers because I'm sure everyone's in very bad condition.
Correct.
Um, I am so relieved for Israel and for the Palestinian residents that are unhappy there too. Like, I'm just relieved. I'm relieved. You?
I saw. a very touching video on the Palestinian side of two men that have just been separated because of the war. And they were basically in two different parts of the country in Gaza. And they haven't seen each other. They didn't know if they were alive, and then they finally saw each other and they were embracing. And I'm like, see, here's the thing that that just makes me happy, but then also pisses me off, which is the fact that I can see something like that, and that warms my heart because honestly, war fucking sucks. And no matter what, if two innocent people find each other and they're best friends and they find each other after a war torn country has been through, a lot of stuff and they find each other and hug each other, that's amazing to me, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the issue that I'm having, and I'm sure you are too, is that now with all of this in play, it seems like the pro Palestine, free Palestine people are just either silent or continuing with their journey of free Palestine.
Hmm.
And it's like you see the differences of Jewish people who are Jews in general, and then pro Israel, and all the Israelis are celebrating. This is over. We're getting our people back. We're getting all of the, we don't have to put up with any more of this BS. It's over. And then you see all the protesters that are still protesting. They are still, or they're silent. Like we hear so about so many of these Hollywood idiots that have, I don't know if any of them mentioned anything yet, but as the last time
No,
I
they're
looked,
like they're doubling down on the narrative of victimhood.
right. And they've been screaming for ceasefires, they've been screaming for everything. And I think we mentioned this either last week or the week before, but it just seems like the goalposts keep moving, and it's not about a ceasefire. It's not about the war. It is about Israel doesn't have a right to exist, and
Hmm.
they're not going to be happy until Israel is gone. And that's the end game here.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm concerned about is the propaganda continuing and the fake news. And if, like, what I worry is if there continues to be these, like, fake articles that Israel is still bombing,
Right.
and it's not going to happen because Israel will not continue to bomb at all if we get our hostages back. And you know it, and I know it, and the smart people know it. But clearly, we have not smart people falling for really, really stupid videos and really, really insane videos of babies sitting on sandy floor eating bowls of sand out of literal spoonfuls of sand and in a bowl, and they are like, oh my god, I can't believe this kid is eating sand, but like he has a perfect haircut, and a dad is filming his kid eating sand in a spoon. It's like, I don't understand the brains of people watching these videos.
By the way, when I saw this, the video I was just talking about, these two Palestinian men embracing each other, right?
Yeah.
You look around, and it's like in a group of like a lot of other people walking around. And I hate to say it, but there are a lot of fat people that are walking
There's so
around
many
there.
fat people in Gaza.
And they're walking around. I'm like,
They're just
huh,
normal people.
where's this famine that
There's no
I've been
famine.
told about? So it's like, what is where, why don't people seem to get it? Like, it's mind boggling at this point, and it is gonna continue in one way or another. I mean, the good news for us is that we have stuff to talk about even more. We're going to continue
Well, I
talking.
just hope that the majority of people are going to get smarten up and realize, like, okay, enough is enough. Like, obviously, this is like a man made experimental, like, bullshit propaganda thing because Israel is clearly not at war with Palestine anymore or with Gaza anymore. So, my hope is that people are going to, at some point, be like, enough with this bullshit. But the people that want to stay in that narrative of free Palestine forever and ever are people that are like, those are the people that we can't help anymore. It's like,
Right.
it's like the pink pussy hat girls or whatever they're called, or like, those girls, the ones that are like constantly out there screaming about like women's rights, like
Hmm.
even though there's no women's rights right now taken being taken away, or like
Right.
the women that are constantly, I don't know, like just like those like those people that are, there's someone that has been standing, and I'm not joking, and I really don't mean to like bring her up, but there's someone that stands outside of the corner of Sepulveda and Ventura. A woman that
Hmm.
stands on the corner of Sepulveda and Ventura outside of the theater, it's a cheesecake factory over there.
Yep.
She stands there since BLM days on June of 2020, every day. She's paid, obviously, because it's got to be a job. There's no way that she's not getting paid to do this.
Right.
Every day, my kids are always like, "Is she here? Is she here?" Because they look for her, and it's a sign that says "End Police Brutality," but it's
Right.
every day for 5 years. So there's people out there that they're being paid to protest. Obviously, it's a paid protester, a lot of these things. You follow Nate Friedman, who's phenomenal online. He's that
Hmm.
young dude that like always goes out with mics and cameras and he talks
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
paid protesters. So a lot of them are being paid to protest. They go from abortion protests to gay rights protests to women's rights protests to Palestine protests to all these different like I don't
Yeah.
know if
There's
it's
some kind of organization that's been paying and been funding a lot of these types of things, and
yeah, so I don't know if it's George Soros
Palestine has
or
been one of them.
what?
Like the Palestine issue has been one of them that these people are getting paid to do. So it's all.
Yeah. So that's
But
why I think
listen,
I think there's money funding this movement. And so I don't know if the money is going to continue to fund it. And if it will keep being loud. But people are going to have to smarten up, or the other people will say like, okay, now I get it. It's over. Like, what? Like it's going to sound stupid at some point to continue to yell about it.
here's what I get. Here's what I get worried about
Okay.
is the damage has been done for
Yeah.
for the reputation of Israel.
Uh-huh.
You have a bunch of Gen Zers and possibly Gen Alphas who have been consuming all of this propaganda for the last 2 years and
Mhm.
possibly more. And these are the same people that are going to start going to college or are already in
Mhm.
college. They're going to start getting into government positions, and they're going to start continue down that road of getting into higher positions, into Senate, into the House of Representatives. That we're going to be in this position of a worse relationship with Israel
Mhm.
because we have all of the last 2 years have just been an onslaught of continuous propaganda. And these people that, yes, they may say it's over, but in their brains, they're still they think that Israel's committed a genocide, or they started to commit a genocide. So now they will continue to think that way as they get older and as they take important offices. And it scares me because I don't want, the relationship between the US and Israel is very special, and we support each other back and forth in a lot of different ways. And when that is jeopardized, there is a can of worms that would be open if we didn't have this relationship we have now. And
Well, I don't
I
care what
just don't
other
want that to
people
happen.
think. You gotta vote for the candidates that support Israel. That's it. That's my line. I don't care who is running. I vote for who will support Israel. That is point blank who it is. And literally, because that's all that matters now. If
Mhm.
the person in charge doesn't support Israel, we are screwed. I follow this great Jewish writer. He's a comedian, a comic writer, comedy writer. Um, his name is Eitan the Goalie, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you
I
follow
follow him
him?
too. Yeah, of course.
And he's like a super liberal guy because he's a comedy
Yep.
writer here in Hollywood. So he hates Trump, and he even said, he's like, I hate Trump. I literally hate Trump. I do. But we all have to admit that if Biden or Kamala were president right now, none of this shit would get done. We'd be in war for the next 4 years. Donald Trump deserves credit for this. Donald Trump is the reason that we're out of war right now. Donald Trump, like, did this. And all the comments are like, I hate him too. But as a Jew, I totally agree with you as someone that supports Israel. So, like, I'm sorry. If you care about, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about myself. And if anyone that's listening, if you care about Israel and you care about supporting Israel, I don't care what all these stupid Instagram people say. The person in charge of like the money and the laws and like that's what matters. It's not about what like people say, like the bullshitters online, because right, that
Yeah.
doesn't really matter
No.
ultimately. If the person in charge, if our president doesn't support Israel, we're fucked.
Well, I was thinking about this, especially with Trump being who Trump is, and it's like it's true. It's like you got to give the guy props. You got to give him. You got to congratulate him, and you got to be happy for what he did because he was the reason a lot of this came through. Whether it was him or everybody behind him in the administration, his administration got this done. Now you can hate everything else about him. You could hate everything that he ever did, but you
Exactly.
have to. You have to say, hey, he got this done. So
And there's too many people out there that are going to struggle with
I
that
know,
if they
I
hate
know.
him, and that's on them. That's their own issues. But you have to, there's two truths. And I was speaking to a Jewish girl that I work out with this morning who's like a diehard liberal, and she's like, it is the hardest thing for me to admit, but I can admit two truths. I hate what he does to America. I despise what he's doing to America. But for Israel, he did a phenomenal job.
And that's what it should be. I mean, this is what politics in general and the people who vote should have that thought. You should not be one way or the other fully. You should be able to congratulate a president that you don't like because he did something good.
Yeah.
And not everything is black and white. Not everything is black and white. It's just the way
And
it is.
people, I think a lot of people are so, I had to unfollow a lot of people in the last 2 weeks. I texted you about it and you asked me about it and I didn't respond, but I had a really, really, I talked about it on my Patreon over the weekend, but I had a really like tough, like stab to the heart moment where I unfollowed a friend of mine who I considered really close to me, but I lost him to the Candace Owens
Mm,
spiral. And this Candace Owens bitch has totally like grabbed the right, the delusional right, and pulled so many of them into hating Israel. And I am
yep.
sick over her, sick over her. And somehow she has people that believe her. I mean, it's so crazy to me because she's just pulling shit out of thin air. I
Yep.
don't get it.
I don't
She's
I don't get it either. But what did she do anything additional like this week? Did something
Well, did you see
happen?
the text that she exposed of Charlie
No.
Kirk's?
No.
So, I mean, and listen, it's not a great look for Charlie Kirk either. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not a great look for Israel, but I get it. Okay. So basically what happened was um she had, threatened that she was going to expose Turning Point and this personal text that happened 48 hours before his death. And she was like, if they don't expose it, I'm going to expose it. Well, they didn't expose it. So then she did. And I thought she was bluffing, but sure enough, she did have a group text. It was a WhatsApp of 9 people in Turning Point, including Charlie Kirk. Somehow she got her hand on it. Well, we find out that the reason she got her hands on it, well, we actually don't know why she got her hands on it,
Okay.
but one of the guys that works at Turning Point, one of the main guys, screenshot the text and sent it to the feds or the federal authorities as a like look into this, we don't know what's going on, when Charlie Kirk first died. I don't know how Candace Owens got her hands on this fucking text. There's moles everywhere, like people
No.
are leaking shit. It's really scary actually to think about it. But the text, we don't really know exactly who's on it. We know a few people on it, but the text said basically Charlie saying, "We just lost another $2 million from a Jewish donor because
Hmm.
I'm not pulling Tucker Carlson from Turning Point." And he said, these Jewish donors are so stereotypical.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. And then he said, it's making me want to leave the Israel cause.
Mm.
And then he said, I'm thinking about bringing back Candace, which, and then the other guy that they crossed off the person's name was like, don't even think about bringing back Candace. It may feel good in the short term, but long term, it's like such a nightmare or something like that. That's all we saw in the text. I think My read on it is A, in terms of the donors, absolutely. Why would you ever be a Jewish donor and want to donate $2 million to an event that you have an anti Semitic person speaking at? I think you're
Right.
allowed to pull your money if Tucker Carlson is part of it. That doesn't
Yeah.
like shock me at all, Jewish or not Jewish.
Yeah.
Like, Adam, if you're really wealthy, would you want to donate to an event that someone that was anti Adam was speaking at?
Yep.
You would say
No.
no, no
Right.
thanks. Um, the Israel comment sounded to me like he was feeling frustrated. He was
Yeah.
feeling annoyed. He was feeling like they were giving me too much shit, that I have to be exactly a certain way or they're going to pull their money from me, which is his comment about like stereotypical.
Yeah.
It was a bad comment for sure, but also this is his inner circle. It's a vent, and the fact that she exposes his personal text after he dies like that is so fucked. And all it is for, it's not for his benefit post mortem. It's just to screw Israel.
Of course it is.
That's all. She only cares about making Israel and Jews look bad.
Um, Interesting. Well, that's a new. God, I miss a lot apparently. Um, I'm gonna have to think about this one because, yeah, I don't like the stereotypical thing is annoying, and it doesn't
Very.
look good. And even if it's like between friends, it's not. But I I don't know how the entire context of that entire
Yeah, we haven't seen the
um
whole thing.
right, that whole text thread looks. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he was going to give everything up from Israel. He wasn't going to stop supporting it. Again, like you said, it was completely out of frustration. Um,
Totally.
but that's the kind of shit that, if he wasn't dead, he'd be canceled because even if it was taken out of context, it doesn't make a difference. But no matter what she does, everything, it's all nefarious. It's all this different stuff that she will just wants to take down Israel and wants to make more of a divide, and of course she just wants to make more money off of all of this.
Exactly. And now she's pulling one of the guys who is on the text, of course, the Jew. His name is Josh Hammer. He wrote a book about Israel. He's like a very strong Zionist. And she's pulling him and she's basically accusing him of murdering Charlie Kirk.
See, that's where it goes completely off the
And he
rails.
didn't answer her tweets about it. He didn't respond for like 2 days. And she was like, "Oh, look at him. He's silent." He's like, "My phone was off for Sukkot."
Yeah, it's a freaking Jewish holiday again.
It's like a sickness, and the fact that no, but anyway, I had to unfollow this guy because I'm like, if you are so gung-ho on Candace Owens right now, it's because you hate Jews. Like, there's no other reason.
Yeah, of course. And it's like every comment I see of people who still follow her and still support her, you can see they are all leaning in that direction of just Jew hatred.
They like it. They're like, "Oh, you're on to something."
Because it's another one of these conspiracy theories that people can latch onto, and it's like one of these podcast. What's the like a one of these murder shows, murder podcasts, like any of that. You like to stay involved, and there's more to uncover, and every time you see something new, it's like a new addition to the story. And
Oh
this
my God,
just
it
happens
makes
to
so much
be,
sense. Yeah, it
yeah,
makes so much sense that the Jews did this because they run it all. And yes, it's like so nefarious. Like, I did meet that one Jewish person that one time that did seem kind of shady.
right. So it's again, it's all conspiracy bullshit that these people fall for, and
They
they
look stupid.
love it. They
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. They seriously look stupid.
So
Well, Adam, I am here for you. Obviously, this week is quite tough, but you know, I'm glad we have the show.
yes,
I'm glad that your dad saw you do the show. I think it was important that for him and he liked that you did it.
yeah, and I'm the one of the things that seemed to be a repeated thing over the last couple of days that my friends have said is like you should feel lucky that you had him on there. And then that you guys learned so much from that hour. Um, and even the rabbi that did the funeral, he watched it too because I talked about it with
We
him the
got a
night
shout
before.
out during the funeral. I mean, what a
Best
plug.
advertisement possible. Best
Yeah, what
advertisement.
a plug. He should have said subscribe.
He should have. All right, next
We
time
should
I'll
have had a
tell him.
QR code
We should have. Damn it.
on the on
Next.
the on the program. Missed opportunity.
It is. It is a missed opportunity. Maybe I don't want to say next time it happens, but we'll see. We'll
Don't
see.
say
Yeah.
that.
Um. Anyway, I'm glad we do have that. So it's something I haven't rewatched it yet because I'm not ready to rewatch it yet.
No, I
But
know.
I'm glad that it exists and I have the opportunity at any point to go back and watch it.
It's a great memory, and it will be great for your kids too.
Yes, 100%.
Hmm. Well, love you, Adam, and I'm glad that I was able to be there and
Yes,
celebrate his
and thank you
life.
for everything, Donna. You've been incredibly supportive, and I really appreciate it.
And not having you to send like idiot anti-Semitic posts to for 2 days was really hard.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It won't happen
Are you
again.
back?
Yeah, you can start doing it again.
Okay. Because I really wanted to send you a picture also of a fan that pulled Billie Eilish to the ground. And they said that it was done like because they loved her. And I thought to myself, I think it was someone that hated her and just tried to pull her down and tack her. And I was like, karma.
Yeah. Well, keep sending that stuff to me.
Okay. Well, I'm going
I
to work
need
on
it.
it. I'm just going to, or I'll just send you funny things. Okay. I'll
Okay.
work on it.
Mix it up. Mix it up.
All right, Adam. Love you. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the episodes and 5-star reviews and all the things. Tell your friends, tell your Jewish friends, tell your non-Jewish friends. We're here every week. See
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
you
Appreciate
next
it.
time. Bye,
All right.
guys.
Great.